Hi, Kathy here from Eclectic Images with a bit of Easter inspiration. So we've got a couple of new stamp sets that have been designed to be used either on their own, together, or with our little bunny stamps. So you can make some Easter tags, Easter cards, decorate Easter bags and baskets and things like that. So it's a bit of fun. I know for myself that Easter isn't a time when I normally send out cards, but I certainly decorate up bags for us to go Easter egg hunting or hang off little tags with people's names on and that sort of thing. So today we're going to do a tag and a bag, maybe two tags, see how much time we get, just to show you the versatility of these stamp sets. So let's have a look. So we've got the Easter egg set and the Easter bunny bits, which has got words and bits that I'm going to show you that go with our little rabbits. So our little rabbit is our Bunny Sweet and Bunny Cute. They're not new, they've been in our range for a long time, but I want to show you how they work with these sets. Our inks today will be Versafine, Clair, Nocturne and Glamorous, and also some Versamark for some embossing. And we'll do our embossing with a gold Tinsel embossing powder, because you can have lots of sparkle for Easter. The cardstock I'm working on is going to be Distress Mixed Media tags. Now this is the number 5 size. You can get them in a number 8 size as well if you want to work on a bigger tag. Okay, and the other thing I'll work on will be just a brown paper bag. But I'm just going to bring these stamps into shot here and talk about them a little bit before we start using them. So in particular, I've done them to go with Bunny Cute. So he is the bigger eggs are size that you can stamp the rabbit inside the egg. So you could do just the plain egg and stamp our little bunny over it. Or you can stamp the egg and stamp any of the patterns over it. You know how Easter egg wrappers are just so beautifully decorated. So you can stamp it in a plain colour or a mixture of colours. And then what we're going to do today is emboss the swirls over the top. You can stamp the stripes. You could emboss the stripes, and then we've got 3 different size dots or 3 different size stars, because you might want to do dots and stars or just one or the other. So it just gives you lots of variation in how you can decorate up your egg, or you can do it with a little bunny. The Easter bunny eggs and bits, this is more eggs that are sized to be able to stamp. Like you can stamp the bunny and mask him and stamp this little line of eggs in behind him, creating a little Easter scene. Then you've got 2 different sizes of eggs on their own. This little group of stamps have all been designed to dress our bunny, so to make him look a bit like an elegant rabbit. And that's one thing we're going to play with today. And then of course we've got just a few simple words to go with it all. Okay, so let's have a little bit of a play. I'm going to do the little bunny tag first. So I'll just move some of these out of the way and grab myself a tag. So the first thing I'll do will be to stamp our little bunny, and I'm going to be relying on my stamp platform quite a bit, just because it's going to be a little bit easier for me to stamp, not quite one-handed, but almost. And it's not a stamping injury. Rightio, so let's get our little bunny, and I want to be able to stamp some words underneath him, so I'll put him midway up the tag, and this is where we're going to use our Nocturne ink to stamp him. So just tap until we've got him nice and inky. I do have my stamp Baren tool here, so I can give that an extra push. Make sure we've got a nice crisp black outline, which we have. Clean that stamp off, and now I'm going to stamp, let's do the Easter. I'm going to do these in blue shades. So we're going to Hoppy Easter, we're going to say for this one. So we've got Easter, and we've got the word Hoppy. I know it's corny, I know it is, but you know, you just got to do it. Let's put that magnet there.
You tell me off for dad jokes.
Yeah, okay, it's a bit close to a dad joke, isn't it? Hoppy Easter. Now I wanted to colour his jacket in a blue. So let's grab, I didn't show this before, but let's grab the Belle ink. That's a Versafine Clair one as well. So, put my stamps down. Just check that my words are lined up pretty well with the grid. And I'm happy with that. So let's ink up with our Belle. Press down. There we go. Happy Easter. Oh dear. Yeah, I'm going to keep using that one, aren't I? Okay, take those ones off. Now we start doing our little decorations on our bunny. So let's get, now I'll say little hat, but the little hat is actually a little bit big on our bunny. But I can position it there so it looks like it's halfway off his face. You don't have to use all the bits. You can just pick a couple of them to use. But I just want to do the whole lot today so you can see them all. Let's just tip it right over the side there. Okay. Now this one being a solid stamp, and because it's going over the top of some outlines already, I may have to ink it a couple of times to get it black enough. See, I can still see a bit of a line through that, so I'm just going to ink that one again. Actually, when I put it over to the side that much, I don't think it is too big. I think it's rather cute. Let's see whether that's black enough. Oh yes, that's pretty good. Okay. Now I did with this stamp, and I will with my other solid stamps, it's not a bad idea to stamp them first with a light coloured ink before you start stamping with stronger colours, because it seems to stop them staining quite as quickly. So something like your Versamagic chalk inks in your lighter colours, they're really good for you just ink it and stamp it out about 2 or 3 times, and then you go on to clean it and go on to using your other inks. Okay, now let's get our next little bit, which is his jacket. Now I've designed these pieces so that you don't have to stop and mask all the time, so that we can just, as long as we line it up with him, it'll just stamp over the top of the arms that are there. Of course, it is one of those things where a little bit of practice, just to make sure that you're lining up right, is not a bad thing. But I can see his little paws peeking out there, so I reckon that's pretty good. And by the time you've coloured it in, if it wasn't absolutely perfect, it's going to be okay. Just open it, check that I've got it black enough. There we go. So the start of the jacket lines up with his little arms, and the line of the inside of the coat lines up with his little hips there. So that way, yes, you don't have to mask him before you use it. And in fact, if you're going to mask it, you would stamp the jacket first, mask that, and then stamp the bunny. Now the other little bits that we've got, we have a walking cane. So let's just position that. Coming down from his paw. Actually, that one's not going to sit nicely to be able to pick it up with the platform. So I'm going to have to be good and just stamp that one with a block. So lining up with his paw. Just press down gently. There's his little cane. Oh, it's very cute. And the other little bit that we've got is a tiny little bow tie.
So if you did the bow tie in a more feminine colour, would it be a girl rabbit?
It could easily be a girl rabbit, yes. In fact, I've got no idea why I'm referring to it as a boy rabbit. It could easily be a little girl rabbit. Now, I've just made a mistake there. I've put that on my block, and I've put it too far away from the edge. So if I stamp there, my block would get caught on the edge of the platform and would not let the stamp get to the cardstock properly. So I'm going to move it over, ink it again. Now with this, don't have it too high. It's got to almost meet up with the line of his jacket where the button is. That's the center line of his coat. So we want it to come down to there. Just a little push. There we go. Oh, it's gorgeous. So now we'll take him out of the platform and do a little bit of colouring. So I'm just going to use the Pentel brush markers, and let's colour in his little jacket. Up to the bow tie. I'll have to decide what colour I want to do the bow tie in. And you've got little cuffs on the jacket that you could do in the same colour or a different colour. Now this is just a straight blue brush. I tested this one out comparing it to the colour of the Bluebell ink pad just to see which. I wanted the blue to be a fairly close match. There we go. I'm a bit excited about this stamp set. I think it's gorgeous. Just colour his eye in blue, and we might just do the cuffs in the same blue. And we'll get a little bit of pink for his little nose and inside his ear. That one's running on a little bit much. Might just knock the colour back a little bit. And we might do the bow tie in the light blue, I think. Now, of course, you could use a metallic brush marker over the top of this to give this a bit of sparkle. We could add glitter to it. We could just get a little bit of our blue ink and a blue brush and do a little bit of shading around the edge just while that's drying. And then you just find some ribbons and threads to put through the top of it to attach it to your bag. And we can also, if we wanted to, pick up a little bit of colour, maybe a brown brush. I'll just grab the straight brown, not the sepia, which is the darker toned one. I just want the softer brown. A little bit on a block there, and grab my water brush, and then we're just going to pick up a little bit of colour just for our actual bunny. Just being careful not to touch into the blue area, because of course having coloured with the brush marker, if I was to put water on there, it's going to bleed into what I'm doing now. I'm just putting on a little bit and brushing a bit of colour off the brush. so I don't end up with too much there. I want this very soft. I don't want it to look too strong colour-wise. And I especially want to keep that bit there, the little poofy bits, keep those very soft. Clean my brush a bit. So if I've got too much, I can just wipe my brush clean and just come in and push that colour around till I've got less there. And then I can go, yes, now we're happy. Okay, now having done that one, let's try another project. Now with this one, I wanted to stamp onto a gift bag. When we do our Easter egg hunting, we use these nice little craft bags to do our Easter egg hunting. So I tried stamping on one, but it's a very porous, heavyweight paper, and I found that it was very difficult to get a dye ink to stamp nice and evenly on it. But to do a pigment ink, which gave me a better image, it then, of course, with Versafine Clair, it stays embossable for so long that I then couldn't get a clear image with my embossing. So although I think working on a craft bag could work, it would take a little bit more time and planning. So to do the next effect that I want to do, I'm actually going to just use another tag, which could then be, of course, hung off a bag. Okay, so grab another little tag, pop it in our stamp press, and put some magnets on to hold everything down. Check that my stamp is going to line up nicely. And because I want it to dry a bit quicker, I've switched to the Catherine Pooler Sparkling Berry ink. So this is a dye ink. We will need to stamp it usually twice to get really good coverage of such a solid stamp. And I'm going to use my stamp Baren just to give me that little bit extra pressure there. Actually, that's really not bad for a first inking. I'm going to leave that one like that. Now, even a dye ink does take a few minutes to dry, and I don't want to be wasting time with a heat gun, so I have already got one that I've prepared earlier. So let's grab our next one to do our embossing part. So we'll take that one out. We'll grab a tag I'd already done and pop some magnets on. Take out our solid stamp and put in either the swirly one or the one with the lines. Now today I'd like to use the swirly one. So I can lay this over the top and get it all positioned and lined up. And of course, if things don't line up exactly, it's like Easter's a bit like Christmas. You can always put glitter over everything. Glitter works with everything. So I'm just going to grab my gold tinsel embossing powder and a bit of catching paper and get those lined up ready. That's all positioned right. We will wipe over our tag with an anti-static pad, which I put here somewhere. There it is, anti-static pad. Ink up our stamp with our Versamark ink. Press down. Again, I'll just use my stamp Baren. Whisk it out and pop it over to the embossing powder. Get my little brush, tap on the side, tap on the back. That's gorgeous. That's going to come up beautifully. Now I will just move this to one side and clean that up shortly. And move our stamp press out of the way. So here we've got our lovely swirly pattern, and I think the gold glitter over the pink is going to look terrific. Just watching as that changes, and you see that sparkle coming through. That is a bit spectacular. Look at that. Okay, now we need some words on that. So let's bring in our word Easter. Have a look at where it might fit. Pop it down the bottom there. Now I could do it in the same sparkling berry, or I could stamp it in one of the Versafine Clair pinks. I think we'll just stick with the same sparkling berry colour. Ink up with just little taps. Check the whole ink looks, the whole stamp looks inked. Press it down. Easter. So the words in the set are, you've got Easter wishes, Easter blessings, you've got happy Easter, and you've got hoppy Easter. So on this one we're just going to do the happy Easter. Little touch. So you can imagine this now with some pink and gold threads or ribbons, and then I would hang it off my craft bag. Or we could you could just do you could leave your threads hanging there, do a couple of little staples to attach, or you could actually use your threads and tie it onto the handle of the bag. So that gives you a couple of ideas for how to put these stamp sets together. We'll just bring our little bunny back in. I've got one more thing I want to do. I've decided, having seen the sparkle on that, I would like to add a little bit of sparkle to our little bunny. So I've got my Uniquely Creative Shimmer pen, and I'm just going to come in over his little jacket and just add a little bit of sparkle there. Clean that off. We might even put some on his top hat as well. Oh, that's nice. So it's a very subtle shimmer, the shimmer pens. Just gives stuff, I don't know whether Matthew can even get that on the camera, just gives it that little bit of extra shine to it. So yeah, that's a couple of ideas for what you might be able to do to decorate up some Easter tags, Easter cards, Easter boxes, things like that, to get into the spirit for when you start doing your Easter egg hunting with the kids. Hope you'll have some fun with these sets. I think it's going to be, there's a lot of different mixing and matching you can do with these ones. So yeah, have some fun. Let me see what you create, and happy Easter.